Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Skeletor to King Randor! Skeletor to King Randor! Come in, you royal boo!
Prince of Eternia, defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, by the power of Grayskull, by the power of Grayskull, by the power of Grayskull, by the power of Grayskull.
I have you now, you muscle-bound oaf!
That means that we punched our ticket to go try to win the Super Bowl, and that's it. We got one game at a time, starting at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Love y'all, boys. Love you. Love you. I'll go to war with every single one of you, every fucking game, all right? Love you, 1-7. Here we go! 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3! Win!
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have me douse, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 It's showtime.
Welcome to Friday Night Lights. I'm your host, Tommy, to the highest degree, to the TOP, from the 313. What up, Bills Mafia? Happy Friday night. Man, no Mikey tonight, but Mikey will return once preseason kicks in. So, how y'all doing out there, man? Give me 1 second. Let me pop this background music on. You know how I do. Oh, gotta turn that down. Gotta turn that down. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, let's get to some of the chat real quick before we get this thing going. Let's see here. Brian's in the house. Bill should offer Josh Allen another big contract, and they will when that time comes. They just paid him, so they're not crossing that bridge this soon. You know what I mean? Best quarterback in the damn league. What's going on, Twins? Let's see who else is in the house. Tommy, yep. What up, Twins? Sorry if I was a little late there, about 15 minutes late. Look, Taco Bell had me running real quick. I had to do something. And don't worry, I didn't eat the lettuce. I promise you, I didn't eat. Your boy's all right. I stayed away. Matter of fact, Taco Bell, they took it off their food line. No more lettuce at Taco Bell, man. We're going to be all right, man. For all you Taco Bell addicts out there, you're going to be all right, man. You're going to have to deal with no lettuce for a little while. Pez in the house. How you doing, brother? Go Bills. Damn right, go Bills. What up, Tommy? What up, J-Ham? Let's see here. I'm good. All right. Sandra in the house. Happy Friday. Tommy to the TOP and everyone in the chat. What's going on, Sandra? Roy in the house. Roy Collins, the guy that is sitting at home chilling, happily retired over the past, 2 months now. Lucky, such a lucky guy you are, Roy. All you have to do now is just kick back, relax, watch some podcasts, and, watch some Buffalo Bills football, Yeah, do whatever the fuck you want to do. You earned it, man. King Volts, I want our passing game unleashed this year. And I believe it will be. I do. And that's what we're going to kind of talk about. Or what we're going to get into tonight, right? What needs to return to this offense, right? Because, look, you know what's crazy? When I look at the stats, and we'll go over it in a little bit. When I look at the offensive stats from, 2020, from the Brian Daboll years, right, when things started really picking up for this offense, which was 2020. That's when Stephon Diggs made his debut in Buffalo. That's where this offense really took off, right? And the passing game was a big reason for that, right? The running game wasn't really there yet, but we were also still building the offensive line, still getting that together. And yes, you guys know I'm a big Devin Singletary fan, but look, he's a complimentary running back. We know this. He's an RB2. And once again, we didn't really have a structure on the line. So even if he was James Cook, yes, he would have provided a little bit more. But at that time, I don't think our run game would have been what it is today because of the offensive line. I hope you guys agree with me. If you don't, you don't. But passing department, we were lights out. And that's what made us one of the best offenses in football. And I'll get to the stats and to show that and prove that. And if you guys watch Buffalo Bills football, I mean, I don't really have to show you the stats for you to know that, but I'll show it to you anyways. Slim Lady, the dog must have farted to make Tommy late like the fella. No, it was TB, man. So TB had called my name earlier today. And I knew when I got home, things were going to start to rumble. And sure enough, they rumbled at the wrong time. So, better than my stomach rumble a little earlier than a little later. Because this podcast would have had some real technical difficulties for about a good 10 minutes. So, oh, man. Let's see here. Paul in the house. How you doing, Paul, man? Appreciate you rocking with me today, man. Slim, oops. Wasn't the dog? No. I don't think so. She's pretty good. But I'll say this about my lovely baby princess who's over there barking at something outside. Something caught her attention. She's here now. She heard me call her name, but when she, has to go, she's just gonna go. So, though she's potty trained, but there's times where she's just like, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this over with in the house. So, and I'm just like, girl, what are you doing here? You're a big girl now. You're 6 years old. Like, you can't be doing that, right? Like, you're just, you know what I mean? Like, daddy doesn't like to, wake up in the middle of the night and smell certain things going on. She knows I'm talking about her, right? So she's a little upset at me right now, right? She's like, yeah, why you talking shit? Why you talking my name? Why you telling people my dirty business, man? What's up with that? Get out of here, oh shit. Right, okay. This is what I deal with. This is it. This is my life. You know what I mean? Like, oh boy, like she just. Now you see what's going on here. Now, normally, she lets me be, but because I think I was talking a little trash, she has to come in here and make a big scene. All right, get out of here, you ass. Oh, God. Yeah, whatever. All right, I gotta talk to my audience here, and you're distracting me. This isn't the princess hour. This is Friday Night Lights, okay? Guys, you see, like the podcast already went off the rail here because I got a very, you know what, guys. All right, listen, guys. I got it. Let me give her a treat. Hold on. I'm sorry. God, goodness gracious. Boy, oh boy. Sorry about that. All right, let's get to some of your Devin was decent. Yeah, come on, man. People acting like he was trash. But not Cook. When we drafted Cook, I was so excited. Yeah, second round, man. He actually was Devin Singletary's backup for his first season, so a little bit of Bills history. Brady and Carmichael are going to have to get in the game planning bag this season. I'm hoping they add much more in the playbook this year. And I believe they will. And I'll get to it. Everyone, Brees. I think Stevie Johnson is closer to being right about our receiver room than ESPN. Never listen to listen, I'll read articles from them, you know what I mean? And we'll go over them, me and Mikey, or just me with you guys, like, you know, kind of piggyback off their articles and have our own, you know, thoughts about them. But for the most part, guys, ESPN, FS1, a lot of these guys, national sports media guys, it's a different era of sports journalism, right? And everything's a hot take, and everything is, you know, clickbait kind of, you know, topics and extreme over the board, everything, or overboard. Everything has to be like loud and in your face and like just so over the top. And a lot of it's nonsense, right? A lot of it's nonsense. Once in a while when I'm bored, I'll listen. I'll never forget a guy, like, I forget his name. Mikey knows him, but he's on ESPN. I don't know if he's there anymore, but he was talking about the Bills and how we always fail in the playoffs. And he said we lost to the Ravens and the Ravens beat us. And I'm like, what? You clearly have no idea what you're talking about. Now you're just talking to talk. At least have your facts right. Like, if you're going to bring that up and all, you know, Bills can't make it in the playoffs, Bills, you know, they can't win the big game. Fine. Okay. Yeah. I'll buy into that, but get the games right. Get the fucking games right. And then maybe I'll take what you're saying more seriously. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, jeez. Allen threw 18 picks, Mahomes 16. Then McDermott went to high school football, run, pass, total joke. Never knew what he had with Jay 17. Yeah, last year was the worst when it came to the offense. And what's crazy is I'm saying that, and yet the offense wasn't, you know, stats wise, we weren't like bad, right? You know what I mean? But from what we know, what we can do, or at least what we know, what the Bills are capable of, because we've seen it, to watching that is like, what the fuck? Because we know we could be much better. Now, obviously, not having a number one, you know, that does hurt some, but that doesn't mean you totally go away from, you know, what Allen does best or what he did best in his time with Daboll and Dorsey. You know what I mean? Like, for them to kind of take that away and just kind of almost dummy down the offense in a way. You know, dummy it down, make it short, you know, everything's short, you know, everything's simple in a way, nothing crazy. You know, we're not taking any chances downfield for the most part. You know, we're gonna be kind of this old school, let's work the clock. you know, these long drives where we keep the defense on the side, you know, keep them rested. Like, it's an old school mentality of offense, right? Like, of coaching. And I'm not saying that offense can't work, but when you have a quarterback that can do so much more and you take away that part of the game and that part of the offense, you're just hurting the team. So for me, it's okay to, like, if you want to get more, you know, get James Cook more involved in the running game, or, you know, not be so pass dependent. I get that, right? Because, you know, at times we were very pass heavy from 2020 to 20, you know, I would say up to 2024 season is when we started to kind of get, you know, James Cook more involved, right? But to completely kind of shut it down in a way and dummy it down, it kind of hurt the team, or hurt the offense, you know? Yeah, bad rumblings. It's crazy. Hey, Princess. Yeah, she is. She's a great dog. She's just, boy, she's spoiled. She's super spoiled. When she wants what she wants, boy, she's gonna get it. She's gonna get what she wants. The dog makes sense more often than Tommy. John is slim. Oh my god. It's all good. Oh my god. Roy, retirement not that easy. You do nothing all day and never know when you're done. Take it from me. Hey, dude. I'll sign me up for that. Sign me up all day for that. Just laying around being, you know, going, damn, I don't know what to do. Like, it's better than going to work. You know what I mean? You know, if you got that, you know, if you retired, you got income coming in and you're good financially, you know what I mean? You're retired and you're living off your, you know, pension, whatever the hell you're living off your retirement, and your 401k and, you know, Social Security, whatever, however old you are. But, dude, sign me up for that all day, dude. I'll trust me. I'll figure something out, you know? My weekends, you know, I got 3 on, 4 off, right? That's how I work, right? So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I do 12-hour shifts. So I work 36 hours in a week, and then I got 4 straight days off. Bro, guys, outside of this, the podcast thing, I do nothing. Like, I literally just sit here and watch TV and, you know, YouTube and UFC and boxing, do my podcast, right? Watch movies and TV shows, like, and I'm good with that. Like, trust me when I tell you, I could do that shit 7 days a week. I have no problem with that. So I get what you're saying, though. Some people would find that boring, and, you know, some people can't live like that. Some people, you know, they gotta always be doing something, right? You know, I knew this guy who I used to work for, actually his wife, who I work for, and the husband, he could not stand still. Like, the dude had to be doing something. Like, you know what I mean? He had to be working on a car, cutting the lawn, trimming the hedges outside. Like, he had to be doing something. And it's just, you know, and people like that too wake up really early, 5 a.m, because they feel like, you know, if they sleep in, it's like they're wasting their day away. Fuck that, dude. Let me sleep the fuck in, bro. Mad Chatter, shout out, Tommy. How you doing, brother? What did ESPN say about the car room? I'm just messing with you. About the receiver room? I don't know. They say a lot of stupid shit. They say a lot of dumb shit. After the summer's over, I plan on doing something part-time. See, look at this. Come on, Roy. Stop it. Oh, man. Enjoy it, man. What are you taking, man? That's me. I always say we collapsed in the playoff. So, you know what's weird when they say it? Not necessarily. Like, we're not a team that just gets in the playoffs and loses wild card games. You know what I mean? Like, or we get in the playoffs and we just stink. Like, if you look at our playoff runs, we've actually, you know, for the most part, been in every game and won games, right? Like, we've won all our wild card games except for the 2019, but I'm not really counting that season. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll count 2019. We're going to count that. We're going to start from the Allen era. So I'm not going to count 2019, but moving forward from 2020, we've usually we taken care of business in a wild card. And for them in division games, usually they're like against the Chiefs, right? Where, you know, you're going against Super Bowl caliber, still winning Kansas City Chiefs, and they've been lights out games, like back and forth. Like, so it's not like we get in there and we just shit the bed. However, with that being said, we still come up short, and that's not good, right? We have to figure out why that keeps happening. And for me, you know, I point, obviously, you guys know I point the finger at Sean McDermott for the most part. Now, of course, people always come back at me and say it's not all on the coach, and the players got to take responsibility too, and Brandon Beane has to take responsibility. And I keep telling people, I know this. I never said it's all on Sean McDermott. Like, for the, you know, the playoff losses and the failures of losing division games or AFC championship games. But for me, the majority of the blame falls onto him, right? And that's just the nature of the beast as well. Like, when you look at certain teams, not just the Bills, and you know, we're talking about teams that can't get it done, right? They haven't gotten it done with premier players, right? And we're talking, let's say, the Baltimore Ravens. Let's give them as an example. Even though it may not be fair all the time, but it still goes back to who? It goes back to Lamar Jackson. It goes back to then their head coach, Harbaugh, who's no longer there. But that's the nature of the beast, right? So those two in particular people, head coach and quarterback, usually get the blame, right? And you hear this from national sports media when they say, what do they say? They don't usually go, oh, the Buffalo Bills can't get it done. They usually bring up Josh Allen. Josh Allen can't get it done. Why can't Josh Allen win the big game, right? It's usually not, why are the Buffalo Bills? Now, some people do say that, but the majority, when they talk about the Buffalo Bills, they talk about Josh Allen. Why is he, you know, oh, he can't ever win the big game. You know what I mean? And that's his part. Listen, that is part of it. You know, I don't believe that, but that comes with the territory of playing that position. And when you're an athlete that good, right? When you're the elite franchise quarterback, unfortunately, you know, the blame is going to kind of point your way, right? And same for Sean McDermott and any head coach that continues to not get the job done, regardless of how many wins he had in the regular season, year in, year out. It still falls back onto them because they are ultimately the leader of the team. And Sean McDermott, our former head coach, was the main leader. He was the guy leading the team out in the field. He was the guy that had the vision. He was the guy that had the play, that had the scheme. He was the guy that had the script going into the game. Right? He was the guy that every, you know, offseason, you know, met with the team, you know, at training camp and had probably a new vision or whatever he was saying for that season, right? A whole new speech, right? You know, they always have that kind of coach speak, like, you know what I mean? They put some kind of banner up usually in the training camp facility, right? Some motivational thing that, you know, the coach came up with that the players are going to get behind. So, yeah, it absolutely falls on him. More so than the rest of the, other players and Brandon Beane and Terry Bagula. And then, obviously, I have my own reasons as well. And I've talked about this numerous times. It's obviously getting old. But like I told you guys many, many times, once the season begins, it's over. Like the McDermott era has officially ended, right? It's still kind of in our heads right now because football hasn't started yet, right? We're 2 months away. We're 2 months away from the regular season, 1 month away from preseason. And 1 month, right? For us to actually watch some new, a new era of Buffalo Bills football with a new vision, a new defensive scheme, like a new stadium. Like, I'm super excited for it. All right, let me get to the chat because I'm really behind. Smelling salt used may not be limited to NFL players. I know they still use it, right? But I don't think teams provide it anymore or something like that. You got to bring your own smelling salt, some shit like that. I did when I first retired and started playing golf. There you go. Yeah, bro. Roy, pick up a hobby, man. Go fucking bowling. Be like a bowling, champion or something. I'll root for you. Like, really, join a league. Maybe videotape yourself, right? And maybe you become like this unbelievable bowler, right? And then you make a YouTube channel with you doing trick shots, like trick bowling shots. I don't know what the hell they would call it. Bowling throws. What do you call that? You know what I mean? And then we all root for you. Eric, you know what I mean? And then we could all say hey, I know that guy. That's Roy. The guy from, Tommy's podcast, the guy used to be in the chat. Didn't Tommy tell him to become a professional bowler out of boredom? You could thank me. So you're welcome, Roy. The defense was so bad that the offense had to alter their game to keep the damn defense off the field. Yes. Yeah. Isn't that wild? And by the way, so true. So true. Stat-wise, the offense has been fine. Correct. But that's what we're going to get into. So, stat-wise, however, Roy, and I tell you guys all the time, stats and analytics don't always tell the whole picture, right? Let's see, Scott Blakely. How you doing, Scott? Tommy, did you watch Marino? Which Marino? Dan Marino? No, I'm sure. I'm just playing. I'm in a goofy mood, man. Did you watch Marino today with that fantasy football guy? Man, he buried Bean on wasting Josh Allen's prime with lack of receivers. Who did? The fantasy football guy or Joe Marino? I'll take that with a grain of salt, but, I could care less on what some fucking fantasy football guy had to say, but let me know which guy said that. Joe Marino, look, I respect what he says. I don't always agree with what he says. And I'm sure if he ever watched my stuff, which I'm sure he's never has, I'm sure he doesn't know who the fuck I am. But if he ever did, I'm sure there will be some things he agrees with what I had to say. And I'm sure there's a lot that he doesn't agree with, right? But yeah, that's just how it is. And I think that goes for every podcaster out there that talks Buffalo Bills football, because for the most part, we all have our own different takes and opinions, and we just see things differently, and that's okay. That's the beauty of it, right? For you guys, especially the guy, the audience that gets to hop on different podcasts and go, hey, this guy has a good point. That guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, but but he's entertaining, or he's both, or you know what I mean? Oh man, I believe McDermott wanted a no alpha receiver because of Diggs. Yeah, that is a fact. Hold on real quick, because I had done a nice quote on that on the hold on, let me find it because I had written it down. Let me see here. Let's see here. Let me see if I could find it. No, I don't know what I did with it. But either way, let me get back to it. I believe McDermott want to know. Yeah, I already read that. That's why Bean didn't address it last season. Give me 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions every game. Let's go, Allen. Tommy to the TOP ties degree from the 313. Dude, you got it. That's right. That's right. Tommy, thoughts on J17 being ranked NFL's number 1 quarterback? I say without a Super Bowl without a Super Bowl, he cannot overtake Mahomes. So they're just going into, they're saying number 1 quarterback going into a season, right? I don't know if I don't know if that ranking is like, meaning the best quarterbacks in a certain era or something. You know what I mean? Like in the Allen, Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow era. You know what I mean? They're not basing it off that. I think they're just basing it off of heading into 2026, the 2026 season. So for me, I would say Allen is number 1. And I know that sounds homerish, but even if I wasn't a Bills fan, and that's the God honest truth, I would still have Allen as the number 1 quarterback going into 2026. Because a few things. One, because of what he does on the field compared to most quarterbacks in the NFL, right? With his arm, with his legs, right? Like, the dude carries the team like no other quarterback for the most part, right? And he's a constant winner. Like, if you really think about it, like the Bills haven't missed the playoffs since 2018, his rookie year. Like, and the Bills, are constantly winning 12, 13 games. So, but what he does year in, year out, and what he did last year for the most part, except for obviously the last game he played, which wasn't his best performance, I still don't think it was god awful. I still think he gave us an opportunity to win. But I think they look at that. They look at Patrick Mahomes coming off a bad injury, ACL. And if you compare him to the other quarterbacks, Lamar, I think he's done more than Lamar, especially what he's had to work with over the last 2 years. Joe Burrow is another one who is really good, bro. Great, elite. But he's never really healthy, right? It's one of those things. It's like a coin toss with him. You have no idea what you're going to get year in, year out when it comes to Joe Burrow. So I get the rankings, right? And I'm cool with it. I'm good with it. But I understand your take with Mahomes. Like Mahomes, if we're talking about proven, who's the best quarterback, to do it, right, up until this point, or at least in the era of Allen, Jackson, Burrow, and Mahomes, clearly Mahomes has, leads that race. I mean, by far, right? So, but if we're talking about just upcoming season, I get why they're putting Allen there. You know what I mean? Now, put it this way. I think Mahomes gets ahead of Allen if the Chiefs make the playoffs, he doesn't get hurt, even if they don't make the Super Bowl last year, right? Let's just say they're kicked out of the division game or whatever, AFC Championship game, even wild card game. Then maybe, possibly, they have Mahomes ahead of Allen. Maybe. I could be wrong on that. But I don't think it's I also don't think it's like this big wow either, right? Like, I don't think, like, even Chiefs fans can't be like totally upset about that. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's so absurd that they have Allen ranked number 1 going into the season. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people understand what Josh Allen, is, or what he does on the football field, what makes him so special. And I'm not saying Mahomes isn't. I'm just saying, like, those two quarterbacks, there's a good debate regardless, right? When it comes to those two guys. I have over 100 house plants that keep me busy. Jesus. Get some fake plants, Roy. Get some fake plants. Buy a bowling ball, like I told you earlier. Look at this. Still gets up at 4:35 a.m. Jesus. Roy, it's too early. I am up 2 months. I am on 2 months summer holiday. I water the grass, watch TV, listen to WGR all day, and I'm good. That's right. And look, you're actually doing a little bit more than I would. You're watering the grass. I couldn't tell you the last time I watered my grass. Let me think. Never. I have never watered my grass, ever. Matter of fact, growing up in South Florida, even as a child, I don't recall my mom ever watering the grass. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe she did, but I don't recall that. Now, I do recall her forcing me to go cut the grass, and that's okay. It's like kids should take some responsibilities, right, growing up, right? But watering the grass was not really a thing, right, for me. It still isn't. What's that? Where are you going? Not this guy. Yeah, it does sound fishy. I didn't even think about that, Roy. What are you growing over there? You got special lighting in that house of yours? You got a nice little plant house, or what do they call it? Garden house? Oh my God. Believe it or not, I was 19 the last time I entertained the ganja. Yeah, it's not for everyone. I'm not like big on it either, Roy, so I get it. It's been years for me. And I think the last time I did it was, I think a friend came over, had some little bit of Mary Jane on them, and but I've never been, even with liquor and stuff like that, I just never been like a person that had to have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be honest with you guys, it's rare I drink anything outside of football. Like when there's no football going on, it's very rare I'll have like a beer or something. Like I don't crave it. I don't need it. I'm not saying it's bad, and I'm not knocking anybody that drinks, by the way. But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just not I've just never been. I never smoked cigarettes a day of my life. You know what I mean? But yeah, and by the way, I'm not a goody two shoes. I want to tell you guys, I visited Bogota, Colombia. Okay? And I said, you know what, Tommy? If you're going to do it, do something, and y'all know what I'm talking about, the devil's dandruff. At least do it, where it comes from. And that's Colombia. And I said, all right, I'll try it out. Right? What's all this hype about? Right? Because, man, it sure gets a lot of hype in the States, right? And by the way, I spent about 2 months in Colombia, right? Loved it. And you could live there super cheap to live there. Like if you go there to visit, and like the US dollar goes a long way, and you can get a lot of like food cheap, super cheap. But anyways, I didn't care for it. I didn't see the big hype. You know what I mean? Like I could have had a couple Red Bulls and felt the same way. And I didn't like the way it felt in my throat. Like, and for anyone that's had the devil's dandruff knows what I'm talking about. So I never did it again. It just didn't do it. Didn't do anything for me. So I don't get the hype around it. But you know what? At least I tried it and didn't care for it. So, man, I put a question in the chat to Tommy. It's been 20 minutes. There was only 5 Lions down. Hey, man, come on, man. Like, you guys get me going, man. When I get to talking, look at this one over here, trying to get comfortable here. This is also a thing, but it has to make sure the blanket is in perfect form here in order for her to get comfortable. She's not. Is she done yet? Does she make it? She's satisfied with the blanket yet? No, still not. No, she's gonna maneuver it some more here. See, we got multiple blankets over there, folks. Let's see. All right, she's somewhat satisfied. I can still see she's not totally satisfied with that. Oh my God. I'm getting distracted here. Sorry. Superman Allen turned it over 5 times against Denver. That's tough to overcome. They almost did, but the interception against Cook was, well, you call that an interception, Paul? Do you? I mean, I know it's listed into the stat sheet as an interception, but people who watch football, Paul, and maybe you don't know. I don't know. Maybe you disagree. But that was a catch, bro. It's not an interception, and I know it's listed as such, but that was a fucking catch. The NFL absolutely got that call wrong. Absolutely got that call wrong. Ranking was current threat, no history, GA 17 hardest for defenses today. Mahomes last 3 years, average at best. I want to say average at best. I would say he's played good. What up, Tommy? Do you think we will get Cooks before the season begins? What's going on, Filthy Dollar Bills? No. The only way they pick up Brandon Cooks is if there's an injury in camp or there's a player that's way underperforming. So, and then I'll give you another scenario. Is if they cut Josh Palmer, which I would be all for. Now, if they cut Josh Palmer, there's a little to that, right? They'll get back $2.5 million on the cap this season. So they'll have that to spend. However, they're going to eat some dead cap from his contract next season, which ain't no getting around that, right? But I always said, I don't give a shit about that. And sometimes you gotta, that is the, that's what happens when you make a bad decision like Bean did by signing Josh Palmer, right? That's the price you pay. You get what I mean? But don't make the team pay the price because you made the wrong decision. You get what I'm saying? So I don't want a guy out there who can't perform, right? And we leave another guy that can perform, that's out there, that wants to be on the team, and you don't sign him because you just don't want to eat the dead cap. But if you do that, you're just hurting the team just because you don't want to eat the dead cap. You get what I'm saying? You don't, and also maybe it's ego too a little bit. Maybe it's like, damn, right? If I do that, then people are going to be like, oh my God, look at the dead cap now. We're taking a hit. What an idiot. I signed. Forget all that. You already did that. Mark it as an L. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not. Once again, guys, look around the NFL. This happens all the time. People want to nitpick. They want to point at the Bills. They want to point at Brandon Beane for being the only GM that has bad signings or a draft pick that doesn't work out. It happens to every NFL team. I'm telling you guys, every team goes through this. They'll have a guy that they regret signing. You don't think the 49ers are regretting signing Brandon Ayuk? The guy's a fucking nut job. And they're paying him. He's sitting at home. And guess what? Nobody's going to trade for him. because he's a fucking nut job. Right? But at the time of the signing, nobody was like, oh, don't sign Brandon Ayuk. I'm sure 49ers fans were like, dude, look what he did. Back-to-back seasons, over 1,000 yards. You got to keep the guy here. But this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Shit happens. And sometimes things backfire. Right? Sometimes you make the bad mistake by signing a guy like that. Sometimes you make a poor decision and sign a free agent that you shouldn't have signed. Or you draft a player that, you know, you maybe shouldn't have, right? It happens all the time. Happens all the time. And if you go back to every draft, by the way, and you hear all these analysts that say, oh, you know, this guy's going to be this, the next this. He's going to be so good in the NFL. He's going to be, and a lot of the time they're wrong. A lot of these guys don't turn out to be what they thought they would be. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes they're right, but believe it or not, a lot of the time they're wrong. So I don't get too caught up in that either. So sorry for the long-winded response, but I just feel like right now, I don't think any NFL team at this stage, right, is going to be signing any player that's still available, that's maybe like a key free agent, right? Or let's say a name. Right? I think what they're going to do, most teams, they're going to let training camp play out. They're going to wait for, you know, possible injuries. They're also going to wait for cut down dates and other teams that are cutting players that are maybe surprise cuts. And then you'll see the Buffalo Bills start cutting their players and picking up some players that were cut. Like, This is all the process of the NFL. Like, so right now, dude, I don't think anything's happening until close to preseason, if it does. You get what I'm saying? Losing to the Bengals, worst playoff loss. Denver stung. Has too many mistakes. Other than that, every other playoff game, he was amazing. D fucked up. Yeah, so the Bengals, I would say 2020 AFC Championship game versus the Chiefs. I would say that was a total team loss. I thought the offense didn't play very good. I thought the defense didn't play good either. And then against the Bengals, that was a total team loss. And that was a fucked up season. It was. And it's funny because I don't give McDermott a lot of praise, or pats on the back. But I would say 2022 for him isn't talked about enough. And what he had to overcome as a head coach going into the season, and then obviously during the season, right? And to rally the troops, get everybody back on board with football is not an easy task. I think we overlook that as fans. I think we don't really give him enough credit for that. And even for me, it took me some time to really think about how fucked up that season was for the Buffalo Bills. And I don't think a lot of people really understand what a fucked up season that was. And it wasn't just the DeMar thing, which was really fucked up, but it was the off season with the Tops, grocery store. You guys know what happened there, right? And obviously Sean McDermott and the Bills, and they went out there and rallied together and went out there and met with fans and families, and that's not easy, right? I mean, that's tough, right? And then you had the Dalton Kincaid, his brother passing away in college, right? difficult, right? Like tough times. And then you got injuries, right? On top of it, there was something else that happened during the season. And then the DeMar thing was like the cherry on top, right? And like, you can't get no worse than that. And I'll give McDermott a lot of credit for getting them as far as they could go, and for as broken down as a team that they were for most of the season. You know what I mean? So there's my praise for Sean McDermott. And of course, I still think he was a good coach regular season wise, and I appreciate what he did here as far as coaching goes, like that, you know, with the other stuff that goes in, that's involved. But if I'm going to give him his biggest praise or dues, it would be the 2022 season. Sorry for the long-winded reply. I still baffled by the fumble before the half. Why not kneel with 15 seconds on our own 25? With no timeouts, McDermott should have called a kneel down. Yes, 1,000%. 1,000%. It's funny because when I watched that live, I said, "What are we doing here? Why are you going for it? Why are you being aggressive here? You have no timeouts." At that time, it was like 15 seconds. It wasn't a lot of time. 17 seconds, 15 seconds, whatever it was. The ball was at our own like 30 or 25. And for me, when I evaluate a team or evaluate a game, like that's why I can't. That's another reason why I cannot do a watch party during the regular season, because I am like heavily like focused into the game, almost like a coach would be, right? Like I evaluate very differently, right? I watch the game at least differently than I think some people do. And I'm very much into, you know, how the game flow is going, right? And at that time, the offense was not, for the Buffalo Bills, was not doing well at that time, right? And to be honest with you, the majority of the season, or most of the season, we weren't this team that was getting downfield with ease quickly. We just weren't built like that. So what made him think that all of a sudden, against a very good Denver defense, we were just going to march down the field like quickly and get some points on the board? It's mind-boggling. At that point, you got to kneel the ball. Understand the flow of the game. You know you're getting the ball at the second half. Why would you put your team in that, in that predicament? Matter of fact, he did the same stupid shit against the Houston Texans a few years ago. And I know you guys remember that. Like, that's what I mean about poor coaching decisions. And yes, is Allen to blame as well? Of course. What are you doing? Why are you holding the ball out like that? You also have to be aware of where you're at, how much time's on the field, how much time's on the clock, right? Like, you need to go down there. You need to tuck the ball and go down and call it a day, or call it a drive, right? That's it. It's not, that's it. There's no more time, going to half and you're good, right? There's no reason to do that. And that is kind of where Allen sometimes tries to do too much. But he should have never been put in the predicament to begin with. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's on coaching. Now, and Allen, obviously takes some responsibility as well, but the play should have never happened. I'll give you another example, and I'm sorry I'm making this a long-winded answer again. I'm a big Hurricanes fan, and I'll never forget a few years ago. I forget who we're going against, but it was a team that we should have beaten bad, right? And if we win this game, and man, it sucks I can't remember who it was, but we needed the win. We needed the win in order for us to possibly make the playoffs, right? It was like, I think it was make the ACC tournament. And our dumb coach, which I like, by the way, I can't say dumb, because he's actually turned things around. But there is basically all you had to do was kneel the ball. They had no timeouts, right? But what does he do? He runs the football because he wants to, like, get more yardage or something, like, for running back. Maybe, I don't know what he was thinking. Like, he wanted to, like, get the running back more yards for his stats or some dumb shit like that. But all he had to do was kneel the ball, because they could not stop the clock. You kneel the ball, and you kneel the ball one more time, the clock's at 0. So even the commentators are like, man, like, that's weird. Like, why is he, why are they running the ball here? And he fumbles the ball. He fumbles the ball, and they go down and score, and they beat the Hurricanes in overtime. Like, just dumb decisions like that will cost you a game. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? So it's the same that goes for McDermott. And that's what I mean about when people say, oh, it's not all in coaching, blah, blah, blah. Coaching matters. And it absolutely plays a part in getting a win or getting an L. Getting a dub or getting an L. Right? It absolutely does. Little tiny mistakes like that cost your team. You know what I mean? People don't realize that. You know what I mean? And I get that players are responsible too, but guys, he's the head coach. If he tells Josh Allen there, hey, I need you to kneel the ball here. We're going to take it into half. Let's regroup and we'll come out. We got the ball. We'll come out in the second half. We'll be better. Josh Allen's not going to go, oh, no, fuck you, Sean McDermott. I'm going to do what I got to do. Like, he's not going to do that. Right? Josh Allen is not that kind of guy. Right? He's going to absolutely go with what the coach wants. I would go nuts if he was retired. I would get up at. I would go nuts if I was retired. I would get up at 6 and barbecue something every day while drinking beer. Well, Tommy, you're not far off. I have about a dozen grow lights happening over here. Oh, Roy. Unfortunately, I've been a smoker for about 45. Really, Roy? Damn, okay, Roy, all right. Bad business, no digs. By the way, digs. I don't know if you guys been, like, following what's going on with Stefon Diggs. But none of my business, really. Like, I don't care what you do in your personal time. You know what I mean? But it's kind of a talking talking thing, right? It's making its ways around national sports media what's going on with the Diggs situation and his former assistant, whatever he was, and the text messages that he leaked, like, I think a year ago, that's making its rounds again about getting his booty clapped or whatever. This is Stefon Diggs apparently telling him that or something. So, there's that. Now, look, at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. Like, if you could play football and you can help this team win, I don't give a shit about that. I don't care I don't care if you go down the Hershey Highway. It has nothing to do with me. That's not, and I'm sure the players don't give two shits either. And by the way, it could be all fake. It could be, he could have put the text message together where it read like that and it really wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that to be true. I'm not close to Stefon Diggs to say if that's if he rolls that way. But If he does, he does. You know what I mean? It's nobody's business, really. But, the fact that this guy is calling, that he's being harassed, I can't say the word here because YouTube will get me, but, it's not good. It's not good either. So we'll see how it plays out, but would I sign him to the Buffalo Bills? Absolutely. And I know some of you guys wouldn't. But for a 1-year deal to have DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs, Khalil Shakir, and Dalton Kincaid, that would be a hell of a team and hell of an offense. Because if you really think about it, and I know Stephon Diggs isn't what he was when he was with us from 2020, all the way up to 2024. But he's still a guy. He's still a guy that has something left in the tank. He's still a guy that obviously can produce something because he got 1,000 yards last year. But DJ Moore is now our Stephon Diggs, and I know some of you guys don't want to believe that or buy into it, but I've talked about DJ Moore multiple times and why I feel that this guy is underrated or not appreciated by a lot of Bills fans and what he's done in his career up until this point. He's still a very good to great, probably great receiver, about as well-rounded as you're going to get. And you're telling me that you got Diggs' replacement, and now Diggs is 2, and Khalil Shakir is going to be 3, and Kincaid, a healthy Kincaid? I mean, that's like going back to 2020 with a number 1 in Diggs and Cole Beasley at 2, where we almost had we almost had 2 receivers get 1,000 yards because I think Cole was 50 yards short, and that's because he got hurt. He missed the game. So I mean, we would potentially be looking at that scenario. It's a big possibility because Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs has a connection already. This isn't something that would need to be, worked out, or Diggs is coming to a brand new place, doesn't know Josh Allen, and we'll see how it goes. No, the chemistry would be there. It just doesn't go away. I played basketball with Captain D for years. I promise you, if I got back on the court with Captain D, me and him would be in sync because I know him very well. You know what I mean? I know he knows me. I know him. I know, he knows when I need a pick. He knows when to pick and roll. You know what I mean? We know each other. You know what I mean? I know, and that's how Allen and Diggs is, right? They know each other very well. It would be an easy transition, is what I'm saying. Will it happen, though? Probably not. I just think, personally, I think Diggs is done with Buffalo, and I think Buffalo's done with Diggs. And I don't think it's a hate thing. I just think it's a we moved on thing. And that goes for Diggs, too. You know what I mean? Because if they both still had some kind of love for each other, I think Diggs would have been back by now. You know what I mean? I don't think they would be waiting around this long to sign Diggs, because I don't think Diggs would come at a high price. You know what I mean? And you could sign him easily to a 1-year deal. Shit, even a 2-year deal with where you can get out after 1 year. But I just think at this stage, they moved on. I thought the Palmer signing was fine. The problem was the contract being given. I didn't think it was fine, Roy. And that's part of the deal. So if you told me we signed Josh Palmer but for a cheap 1-year deal, 2-year deal, okay. You know what I mean? Whatever. Like a Trent Sherfield kind of signing. I would have been like, not the most exciting. Because I said that anyways. Not the most exciting, most exciting signing in the world. Josh Palmer, who the hell's that guy? What has he done? is really was my reaction. But then seeing the contract, I'm like, damn, what has he done? Am I missing something? Right? What? How much? For him? Who? And yeah, that's where the problem lay. That's where, that's where we have the problem, right? And at this point, it's okay. Like for me, I've moved on from, fuck, man, terrible decision. I'm past that. And you guys should be past that. It is what it is. It's over with. You get what I mean? Like, let's move on. Take the L. You're already getting criticized anyways. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, there's no saving it. Like, Josh Palmer isn't going to come out this season and just be, dynamic. And we're like, oh my God, Josh Palmer. Whoa. What a great signing. The likelihood of that happening is very slim. So, for me, you take the L, go ahead and cut him. You sign either Brandon Cooks. If Stephon Diggs wants to come back and you want him back, Stephon Diggs would be my first choice. D-Hop comes to mind. I know you guys aren't big on D-Hop, but if the ball's going his way, he's catching that motherfucker. And he would be a very cheap signing. Matter of fact, if you're getting back 2.5 for Brandon Cook or for Josh Palmer, there's your money right there for a DJ Moore. For a D-Hop or a Brandon Cooks. You know what I mean? Like, there it is. Boom. Okay. Now, and you might even have some money left. You know what I mean? Because I don't even know if they'll be that pricey. Right now, D-Hop's on Spot Track at like 1.5, 1.7. You know what I mean? Brandon Cooks, who knows what he's at? I didn't even check, but it can't be much. And I'd rather have a guy produce than a guy just on the team because, we don't want to eat the dead cap. But he's also not producing. He's doing nothing. Right? Like, he's hurting the team by just being there, not doing anything. So, yeah, give me the guy that will do something and worry about the dead cap next year. And I'm not going to be mad at you if the guy you signed, whether that be Cooks or Diggs or even D-Hop, do something, meaning they produce. Nobody's going to be going, I can't believe. Because if he does that and it works out, let's say Diggs comes back and Diggs produces. Let's say Cooks come back and he produces. Or even D-Hop gets some production. No one's going to be like, I can't believe we cut Josh Palmer and signed that guy. Like, because I think all three of those guys can do more than what Palmer can do at this stage. Right now, even old-ass D-Hop can give me more production, I feel, than Josh Palmer. I really do. There is no connection chemistry between Josh and Josh Palmer. Zero. I don't care what anyone says. Like, everyone wants to go back to the one game where like, Josh Palmer was starting to heat up there. Stop. Wow. You made the one cat. Woo. Like, come on, man. Like, all of a sudden he's going to be turning Jerry Rice. No, he's not. You know what I mean? Of course, once in a while he's going to make a catch. Don't go overboard. Right? I know. I've seen enough Josh Palmer to know he's not going to do it often. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Let's be real. You know what I mean? I remember, God, what was his name that played for us? I actually got his jersey. I don't even know where it is. What was his name? The receiver that we had him in 2019? And he was like, he came from Canada. He played for CFL. He played for the NFL initially, went to the CFL, and then we signed him. And he was on our practice squad. And we brung him up. And he made some plays here and there. You guys remember that guy? Fuck, I forget his name. But he was like a fan favorite. And I was like rooting for the guy. But come on, man. At the end of the day, this is all he's going to give you. Some flashes here and there. But that's it. And Josh Palmer's the same way. He's going to have a game where he makes a, 30, he'll have 40 yards. And we're going to be like, bro, Josh Palmer's starting to come around. And the next game he's going to be hurt or no catches. Like, trust me, I've seen enough of it. I know it. 14 million dead cap is tough. Doesn't matter, Roy. Like, at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for the team. If you're setting a 53 up, you want your best 53 out there. And look, for me, you take the L, you eat the dead cap. You also get 2.5 this year that you can use on signing one of these guys that actually can make a difference on the field. That's all I care about. And that's all Joe Brady should care about. If he's like as the head coach, right? Because he has say on the final 53. I want guys that can actually go out there and give me production. Good production. I don't want a guy out there because Brandon Beane's like, dude, I fucked up, dude. I paid him. I can't eat the dead cap. Just find a place for him on the team, Joe. You know what I mean? Like, no. That's you're hurting the team. Right? And you're not doing right by your fans. Ayuk is done. He'll never play in the NFL again, Sandra. Yeah, dude, Ayuk's an idiot. Like, what a fucking clown job. Like, what an idiot. Like, I was talking to somebody on my Discord. By the way, Discord, if you guys want to join the Discord, let me know. It's completely free. But anyways, we got to talking about Brandon Ayuk. And yeah, bro, like, I don't care where he wants to go. Let me tell you something, guys. First of all, even if you're a free agent, and yes, you have the ability to go and play for who you want to play for. However, they don't have to sign you. They don't have to do shit. You know what I mean? Like, you could say who you want to play for. That don't mean shit. You, especially if you're not that great, or you know what I mean, or you got issues like this, then it makes it even worse, right? You ain't fucking Jerry Rice and doing good, these great things, and yeah, man, I could all these teams want me, and I could just sit back and go, pick and choose who I want. All right, yeah, bro, Brandon Ayuk, buddy. Hey, hate to tell you this, bro. Who the fuck is calling for you, man? Like, this is the problem. And every day you talk and every day you do a dumb fucking video and run your mouth, it makes it harder and harder for the 49ers to ship you off. Right? And somebody said, well, why don't they, why wouldn't they just cut him then? Because if they cut him, they're eating the dead cap. Why give him the luck? Why give him the easy out? Fuck him. Like, if I'm a GM, I'm going, damn, dude, this guy's fucking us, right? This guy's literally fucking us. We can't even make a trade because this guy keeps running his mouth. No GM in the right fucking mind is sitting back going, I can work with that guy. Bro, there's no way. Because most GMs, even the bad ones, got to have some smarts to them. Right? They know their job's on the line. Right? Who the fuck is going to give something up, pay his contract on top of it, knowing what he brings to the table? That is a huge gamble. And he's just running his mouth and running his mouth. So, of course, the 49ers are going, okay, if we can't get rid of you, fine. You don't want to play here? You're under contract. I don't give a fuck you want to play for Washington. Guess fucking what? You're under contract. If you want to stay your ass home and miss game checks, fine. Your guarantee is your guarantee. It sucks for us, but we're not going to make it easy for you and just release you so you can go sign with somebody else if somebody else even wants him. But if I'm the 49ers, oh yeah, you're fucking me. Well, fuck you. Oh, you want to play? You want to be a fucking clown? Okay, fine. We're going to be just as petty. right? We're going to be fucking real petty. Fine, stay at home. You're under contract for whatever is, how many more years he has left. And then good luck by then finding a team. Because guess what's going to happen? He's going to continue to run his mouth. He's going to continue to get in trouble. Because that's just the individual he is. Right? Because boredom's going to creep in. Right? Like, why are you racing your car around their stadium at 100 miles per hour recording yourself? How fucking dumb. And then you claim you want to go to the Washington Commanders and you're running your mouth to their quarterback who you were once friends with, who now has unfollowed you. You think they want anything to do with you? They want nothing to do with you. And any NFL team that like, I would be shocked if any NFL team GM takes that gamble. And also, too, guys, it's not like Brandon Ayuk is this great wide receiver. He had 2 good seasons. One for, I think he cracked 1,000 yards, just cracked 1,000 yards. And then he had a 1,400-yard season. Then he got paid. And then he got hurt. And then he didn't play the whole entire season. They have no idea why. He's an idiot. So at this point, if I'm Brandon Ayuk, look, you got your fucking money, your guarantee, whatever it was. Just go. Just fucking leave. You're not going to play again. The likelihood is he would have to basically turn his life around and apologize and be a better person and show that for a GM to really take a chance. You know what I'm saying? I would not give anything up for that guy. He would strictly be a 1-year prove-it deal for me if I were to take the gamble. 1-year prove-it deal. And even then, it's still risky. Because he could be on his best behavior 1 year and then, you pay him and then he totally fucking shits all over you again. I'm good with somebody like that. He is not great enough for me as a GM to roll the dice. Nope, not doing it. If injuries, they will sign. Otherwise, no more wide receivers. Time to agree. Yeah. I think it's all going to be based out of camp right now. I put an interception in quotes. I don't think it was an interception. Oh, got you. Okay, brother. When I watch a game, I swear and I drink. Me too. But I've gotten a lot better, though, at getting so worked up. I used to get really I got to be careful because I used to and I think I jump up more and get really worked up on good plays. When, in an important game, we finally, whatever, we're just playing really, really good or something. I'll get up Rah! And I'll see a bunch of dots and I get a little lightheaded. And then I got to sit back down and just all right, that's not good. Right? Got a little dizzy there. Gotta relax, Tommy. Gotta relax. So, some guys don't live up to big contracts because once they get their money, they stop working hard. Yeah, and I have no, I don't know the whole situation with the Ayuk thing, but it sounds like it's more on him than anything. By the time I read the comments 20 minutes ago. At least I read them, Roy. There's a lot of people and a lot of podcasters that do not read your comments. So, just saying. But I agree. I get a little behind. By the time he gets to your comment, you're playing Oh, you guys are... What happened at the Tops grocery store? You got to read into it, Paul. You don't remember that? Paul? Type in 2020 Tops grocery store Buffalo. I'm sorry, 2022. Sorry, 2022 Tops grocery store. I can't really say it here because I don't know how... YouTube's so weird on their rules, but in 2022, in the off season, there was a guy that went into the Buffalo Tops supermarket who was racist And he did some terrible things, put it that way. And it's on video. I think he recorded himself. I know he did, actually, because I think I believe he did. I'm not telling you to go watch the video. I'm just telling you what occurred. But you can read into it and go, look, everybody kind of knew about that. Booty clap. Richie. Yo, Richie. How you doing, brother? Oh, man. Roy, where a man put his meat thermometer is his business. That's disgusting if true, Scott Blakely. Oh, meat thermometer. Oh, my God. Cali Bills, bro. Where you been, man? How you doing, brother? Long time no talk, man. I hope things are going well for you, brother. Here's another guy, Roy. Friend of the channel, been a long-time listener. He's also retired. I believe he retired last year. So Callie's been chilling a little bit longer than you on retirement. Over there in good old California. I tried lemon pepper wings today. Holy shit, they are good. You know, I've never had lemon pepper wings, but I got to try them. Everybody keeps saying how good they are. Because I just get grilled wings. Sometimes fried, but I don't like, if they're fried, I don't like how Hooters used to make wings. I hated Hooters wings. I don't like that type of fry. You know what I mean? But I usually like them plain or mild. A little bit of mild sauce, because I don't like really, really spicy wings. But I've never had lemon pepper before. Got to get some Crown Royale. All right, okay. DJ Moore is our number one, and we just need that solid wide receiver too. And we are rolling. Just need that one more piece. I'd sign Diggs all day. Yeah, I'm with you. Cali Bills, yeah, they're pretty damn good. Crown Royale, my preference drink. Never thought it's your recipe. Interesting. Okay. I mentioned last pod, I love D-Hop or Keenan Allen. Yeah, dude. Now, Keenan Allen's interesting. I just think he's out of his prime. And the problem with Allen is he's been suffering a lot of injuries later in his career, right? So I don't know what you would get out of him. D-Hop, for the most part, has been healthy. It's just his production has taken quite a bit of a drop. However, when the ball's thrown his way, he does make a play on the ball. He has great hands. You know what I mean? You can count on D-Hop coming down with the ball. You know what I mean? Like, that dude is not fumbling around the ball. You know what I mean? Like, if it's in his direction, you can count on D-Hop making the catch. That's what makes him, or has made him, so special as a receiver in the NFL for the longest time. I laugh when Palmer did nothing for 5 games, and I think he had one long catch and got hurt versus Atlanta, and everyone said he was coming on. Yeah, bro, exactly. It's like, watch out. Whoa, he was starting to come on. It's like, what? Why? You know what I mean? What are you talking about? Oh, Roy, you got it right. Duke Williams. Yes, yeah, that's who it was. Duke, right? So it's the same shit, right? We're like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. We may have something here in Duke Williams. Right? Hold on. Did you see that catch? Right? Hold on. And then he does nothing, right, for like 2 games. And then he has like a 25-yard catch. Like, whoa, hold on. That could be our new deep threat. Sometimes, man, we get caught up in maybe the moment or just a certain player, like, you know, catches our eyes and we're like, whoa, maybe we got something here. Hold on. Oh my God. Will Gore Jr. be on the practice squad again? Yes, he will be. But I'll say this for Frank Gore Jr., he has looked good every preseason I've seen him play. Pretty much every single preseason, Frank Gore Jr. has looked good. I'm like, yeah, this guy, damn, who knows? But he never seems to make the team. He always is a practice squad guy. Who knows? You know, I don't know what they're. You got to remember, the coaching staff is seeing something we're not in camp, so there could be something more to it on why he's not making the 53, right? You know. You're referring Consume Williams, Tommy. Yeah, Duke. that's yes, yeah. Duke. The roof is on fire. We don't need not water to let them motherfucker burn. Oh man. Tommy, stop talking so much. We need Mikey to keep up the chat. You guys want me to do a quick read? I can do a quick read. All right, let me do a quick read, but don't look. Y'all can't fucking get upset if I do a quick read and don't reply to the question. That's what a quick read is all about. I'm acknowledging the comment. I'm just not responding to it. That's what a quick read is, okay? I'm like, oh, all right, thanks. All right, so here we go. Fast mode. Hello, Tommy. Did you see my message? Mr. Fulton, most interesting man in the chat. I saw it now. Cali Bills, we need a Super Bowl win in our new house. Yes, we do, Cali Bills. Mr. Fulton on Twitter. No, I didn't, but I'll check later. Slim Nady brought a Black Choose Love Bills t-shirt after that. Okay. Cali Bills, I never been in the chat. You're in the chat now. Cali, if it happened in the house that Josh built, it feels like Milano should be 38 years old, but he just turned 31 a couple weeks ago. Would you be upset if he is signed at a good number? No, I wouldn't, because he had a decent year actually, he had a good year last year. But it would have to be a cheap deal, and we do need a veteran linebacker. I do agree with that, but we'll see what happens. White Steve gonna break out the season and outplay Palmer. White Steve. Who was White Steve? We have a guy named White Steve. I never heard of that guy. Is he a camp walk-on? They call him White Steve. I like the name. Steve. Hey man, there goes White Steve. White Steve is trying out for the team. Let's get White Steve on board. Tommy, you better respond to the comment. Damn it! What comment? Richie Fresh coming in with the super chat. Let me go ahead and hit that super chat real quick for.
Thank you very much.
Richie. You know that train horn be kicking in for every super chat. Appreciate you. My dude coming through with a super chat. Thank you so much, Richie Fresh. Richie coming in with a super chat saying, Bills going 13-4, 6-0 start, Super Bowl incoming. That's right, Richie. All right, so somebody's saying I'm missing your chat. Walter is. I got to go back. I'm back after eating Chinese food. Look at that. So people went to, so what Twins is saying is he went to the China buffet, sat down, had 3 plates, came back, and I'm still talking and haven't reached his comments yet. Oh my God. Oh Lord, Slim. Number 89 on your roster. White Steve, 89 on our roster. What do you? Cali Bills, White Steve. I have no idea who is White Steve. Tommy, brother, it was a what? Write it now. Write it now. Who is White Steve? I still want to know. Am I missing something here? Hold on. Let me type it in. Hold on, guys. Let's do this together because Slim Natty here, Slim Nate says we have a guy known as White Steve. All right, let's see here. Let's type it up. All right, let's do this together, chat, because I don't know, man. Sometimes Slim Nady here has like some stuff going on there. He likes to. All right, do the Bills have a player on their team on their team known as White Steve. All right, let's see here. Steve Gosselin. He's known as White Steve. Son of a bitch. We do have a player called White Steve. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Why are we calling him White Steve? Hold on. I mean, look, I know Chris Sims, when Cole Bishop was drafted, called him the Great White Safety, which I was like, what? Why is he the Great White Safety, Chris Sims? Come on, Tommy. Did you get to the top? I have not. I'm still messing with the chat. The shades clearly aren't. Bills Rams Super Bowl, but I hope the Rams get upset on their way, so we play a different team. I don't care. Bring them on. Right? To be the best, you got to beat the best. Right? Twins. What? He was the only white bit in the wide receiver last year. So he's known as White Steve? I don't know this. By the way, you never heard that? Chris Sims, I swear to God, dude. Let me pull that up. But anyways, let me read this real quick because I had no idea. So it says the nickname started during training camp. So shame on me because I cover this team, big time. It's my passion. And I didn't know we had a guy named White Steve on the team. This is I'm upset. Shame on me. Tommy over here talking Bills football didn't know we had a guy named White Steve on the team. I have to talk to Mikey about this. But anyways, nicknames started during training camp when the offensive coordinator Joe Brady began calling him White Steve. So Joe Brady came up with the name. Oh my God. Well, when asked about it, Gosselin confirmed that was indeed his nickname. Teammate Khalil Shakir jokingly explained it by saying Gosselin was the only white receiver in the room. Joe Brady also said the nickname wasn't just about his appearance. Well, I would hope not, because if it was a black player and you called him White Steve, I'm just saying, I don't know. Would there be a problem with that? If he was black, if he was a black player and they referred to him as White Steve, I think there would be a problem. So I'm pretty sure the name came because he was the only white receiver in the room. I'm going to guess that was the main reason. Callie didn't know either. Michigan pretended to be Bills fans. Oh, shut your damn trap, Slim. You just shut it, all right? I'm sorry I didn't know about White fucking Steve on the team, all right? Yeah, that I didn't pay attention to Steve Gosselin. I wasn't up to date with our white receiver that did nothing for us. Sorry. I should be more informed on our white receivers that aren't making the team. I apologize. That's on me. It's totally on me, guys. I'm a bad fan. I'm a bad fan right now. Slim, greatest fan on earth, knows all the white, terrible receivers that don't make the team's nicknames, apparently. There was a second that Alan won. Oh, my God, on Joe Brady. Oh, my God. So, am I done with this article about White Steve? You want to hear about my White Steve some more, guys? I call him White Steve. Like, Steve does everything right. So he calls him White Steve because Steve does everything right. The white guy named Steve does everything right. It just doesn't sound right. Or maybe it is right. He's white, right? Steve, I'm so confused here. Joe Brady. Move on from the Joe Brady. Don't stop with the nicknames, Joe Brady. Please. I don't. It doesn't even make sense. If he did everything right, he would make the 53. He would have been a big part of our wide receiver room. Matter of fact, if White Steve was always right, we wouldn't even had a conversation about a number one. White Steve would be the number one. He would be Steve Largent of the Buffalo Bills. All right. Moving on. You started it. You're the one. Now, for those that didn't know, because apparently, like, not a lot of people knew, but Chris Sims called, and I watched this. By the way, he said it and he tweeted it. Did Chris Sims call Cole Bishop the great white safety? And this is when we drafted him, which is wild, right? Yes. During the 2024 NFL draft, Chris Sims referred to Cole Bishop as the great white safety. It says, look, his full remark was essential. Wow. The Buffalo Bills needed safety, and they got the great white safety in Cole Bishop. Great athlete who's best around the box, but can do free safety too. He can cover top tight ends in the NFL. He will start this year. So, dude, that is such a fucking off-the-wall comment. That makes zero fucking sense. Right? Like, what the hell is going on, man? And now Slim Nady is lecturing me that I didn't know about White fucking Steve. Man. Anyways, I want to distance myself from Joe Brady's bigotry. And we got an issue going on in Buffalo. Apparently the white guy's always right. Come on, Joe Brady. Do better. All right. So, never thought I'd see the day podcast where it's spent 15 minutes talking about White Steve. Listen, we've been on this motherfucker for an hour and 40 minutes. I have gotten to nothing of importance. Absolutely zero Buffalo Bills real talk. We have talked about Brandon Ayuk and fucking Stephon Diggs going down Hershey Highway and whatever, you guys, thermometer talk and fucking White Steve. Can we get into the Bills talk now, guys? I blame it on you. I blame it. Listen, this is all on you guys. Right? You guys. Because you guys steer the ship. I'm just here answering questions. You guys are the one bringing up White Steve and thermometers and fucking Brandon Ayuk and all this shit. Like, I'm just here for the ride. I want to distance myself from Chris Sims. Oh my God. Bro, did you guys ever hear that? By the way, that fucking Chris Sims guy is such a fucking dork. I mean, no offense. I'm a bit nerdy myself. I am, I'll admit. I watch Twilight Zone and I like Star Trek. But boy, he is the ultimate fucking dork. And let me see if I can find this for you guys. Like, unbelievable. Like, I remember him doing this, but I don't remember the rest. And let me see if I can find it. Of his corny ass fucking things he said here. Let me see if I can. Oh, here it is, guys. I fucking got it. Hold on. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck, bro? Chris Sims, bro. Hold on. All right, here we go. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, this right here is what I'm talking about when it comes to sports media. Cole Bishop is good, bro. Callie, Cole Bishop's going to be a problem in the NFL. Like, I'm telling you, like, he has not reached the ceiling yet. Cole Bishop is on his way to being one of the best safeties in the NFL. I'm telling you right now. Anyways, let me get to this fucking Chris Sims goofball.
Okay, it really came from this last weekend where, you know, you were kind of getting in the zone and I started going, man, here we go, Josh Allen, giddy up. And then, I don't know, I started humming, giddy up, Josh Allen, giddy up, it's my boy Blue, do, he'll throw lasers right by you.
That's awesome.
I'm an idiot.
Giddy up.
It's
It's a homage to Wyoming. It's the Cowboys. You know, I love it.
Okay.
How many songs do you have for other guys?
I have one for Aaron Rodgers. He was the first one, and I just make that like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, you're the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. That's what I say to him. I have Patrick Mahomes. You might be too young for this, but there was a toy when I was younger called My Buddy. So I go, my homie, my homie, my homie. And that's that song. I feel really embarrassed saying these to you right now, but it's very nice.
Nerd alert!
What the fuck is that? Oh my god! This is what we're dealing with, folks. Shit like that, bro. What is he talking? What the fuck is this guy doing? Stop coming up with those corny ass fucking jingles. No, you know Josh Allen was being very nice there, right? Very polite. Yeah. What other songs do you do? What the fuck, dude? The rant on White Steve is basically the closest thing to an NFL highlights video as we may get from him. Walter, you are right. Like, this is the most that maybe White Steve has ever been talked about. That may be 100% accurate. Does Tommy ever talk about anything of importance? Let me think. I do at times. But you're still here, Slim. You're still here. And by the way, you're the one that brought up White Steve. I didn't. God. Right, Walter blames White Steve. I don't. I blame Slim, who came in here with the White Steve talk. I didn't know White Steve. Hey, we got Captain D in the house. Captain D. They're bringing up a guy on my team called White Steve. I had no idea we had a guy named White Steve. And our coach called him White Steve because he does everything right. White Steve does right stuff? I don't know. And they're yelling at me because I didn't know White Steve. And it's really only one guy, Slim. Everybody blames Slim for bringing up the fucking White Steve comment. Sandra, I just read an article. Should the Bills look to make $1.3 million decision between Milano or Shaw? What's your thought? Wow, we have a comment outside of White Steve. I think I would bring back. I would sign Milano for that. 1.3, that's a cheap signing, dude. Matt Milano was pretty good last year. I'm not gonna lie, for a veteran. You're talking about Shaq, not Shaw, right? Because I'm like Shaw, Billy Shaw, Brian Shaw. No, you're talking about Shaq Thompson. See, I think Shaq Thompson thought he could get a decent contract and maybe a starting gig somewhere if it wasn't in Buffalo, and I think he was mistakenly wrong. So, and I like Shaq Thompson, don't get me wrong, but I think that he thought maybe what he did last year was good enough to earn that type of contract signing from the Bills or another NFL team, and it's not looking to be the case, right? So for me, God, that's a good. I think Milano played pretty damn good. And I'm not saying Shaq didn't either, but I would maybe because Shaq's been here longer than Shaq. Milano's been here longer than Shaq. I'd probably go Milano on that one. But to be honest with you, I would totally wait first to see who gets cut from other rosters. Dorcas Malorcas, the highest level of dork. Oh, we got a Finns fan in the house, Captain D, by the way. And by the way, real quick too, me and my buddy Captain D, we are in the works of getting a podcast together that's going to probably be on Saturday afternoons or maybe Saturday nights. That's going to cover everything from sports to entertainment to music, everything, right? We're going to just have a fun, laid back show, uncensored, unfiltered, whatever you want to call it type of podcast. So I'll keep you guys in the loop when we finally, make the decision on what day for sure and the timing. And but look out for that as well. Even though he's a Dolphins fan, he's my dude, man. That's a great friend of mine, and it's just too bad that he's a Dolphins fan. Where's Mikey? Mikey doesn't come on Friday nights anymore until preseason kicks in. So he'll be back in a couple weeks. Well, not a couple weeks. He'll be back in about 3 to 4 weeks. Doing too much there, says Twins. I don't know. We're doing too much somewhere. You're talking about the song. So, yes. Sim's such a mama's boy. Yeah. Yes. Callie going, what the fuck was that? Sims definitely takes it up there. Wait, what the fuck? Alan was like, what a turd bird. What up, man? What up, Captain D? Captain D in the house. I wish Alan said I don't make enough for this. Right? Bro, Alan is a nice guy, right? He wasn't going to be like, thanks, man. That fucking terrible. What the fuck was that, Chris? My boy Blue. Bro, first of all, they're not boys. Okay? They don't have that type of relationship. Not that I fucking know. Right? To be like, that's my boy Blue. What are we doing? Oh, man. I blame Tommy for not knowing who White Steve is. Listen, don't blame me. Right? If every team could have a White Steve, right? I mean, come on. I guarantee Captain D's Dolphins don't have a White Steve. Wait until Tommy learns the Bills have a White Bison. Yeah. Whoa. Is that White Bison always right? Oh, woo. So stupid. What up, Tommy? Sorry I'm late. What I missed? Bro, if you rewind, Big Papa Bill, you rewind this podcast, we have talked about some important stuff that you may or may not have known about your Buffalo Bills. Oh my God. Yeah, that is true, Roy. Though last year I felt like, he was relatively healthy, and he actually had one of his better seasons, you know what I mean, over the last, I would say 3 years, 2-3 years for him. If you get that Milano, and you got to remember too, he would be a rotational depth kind of player. You know what I mean? So maybe his injuries won't creep in because he's not getting a lot of snap counts. Just throwing that out there. But I don't think he comes back. You know what I mean? But we'll find out. You never know. Got to have somebody else to plug in when Bernard gets hurt. I agree. And I'm with you too. Buffalo Joe is fun and all, but right, I'm with you. Like, good story. Buffalo Joe. We always got to come up with these nicknames, right? In sports on our teams, right? Buffalo Joe. Now, I guess we had a White Steve. Chris Hogan was 7-Eleven, always open. But yeah, so Buffalo Joe, because he's from Buffalo. So, but he's okay. He's a guy you could root for, but he's not a. I don't think he has a high ceiling, right? Like, we kind of know what Buffalo Joe can do on the field at this point, right? You know what I mean? Like, can he get a little better? Sure. He's still young, right? I'm sure they could develop him into being more productive, but he's not. I don't think he's gifted like that, right? So I think we definitely need to go through this training camp, see what we got in the rookies, what Dorian Williams can do, and in this system, how Terrell Bernard is looking in the system. Though Terrell Bernard's not going anywhere. And then they're going to make their decision off that. And then of course, I'm sorry, Elarms Orr, who seems to be the favorite right now. Who's going to be next to Bernard. So I do think they need to eventually bring in a veteran linebacker. They're going to have to. It's more than likely. I would be surprised if they didn't. How about that? I do wonder who will ultimately pick up Milano. While he's older and injury prone, I don't see him not being on a roster come week 1. And I agree with you on that. Like Matt Milano is not a bad player. Like when we talk about Matt Milano, it's not like the guy is washed up or he's just never was really that good and why waste your time because he's always injury prone. When he's healthy, the guy can make plays, right? We've seen it. We know this, right? And I think any NFL team that's in need of a linebacker at that cost, why not? Why the fuck not? You know what I mean? Like, you're getting that experience and you know what he can do. You've seen enough film on Matt Milano to know what he's capable of doing. Even last year. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like last year he was like not doing anything productive. He was productive and pretty much healthy the whole year, pretty much. So for me, yeah, I would definitely, if it's not the Bills and you're in need of a linebacker, why not? Of course. No AFC show with your buddy. Yes, there is. Absolutely, Roy. AFC Shakedown will return 2 weeks before the preseason begins. We usually do a off-season show where we talk about everybody talks about their teams and what they liked and didn't like in the offseason, and then we return the week of regular season, right? For the first games of the season. So yes, we will return. It will be Saturdays at noon. So that is still a thing. I am, Captain D, he covers the Dolphins, but he only does it part-time, and Curtis is not coming back. So I gotta find myself a Miami Dolphins person to come on to the show and help out with that, which, I need to get on that. So on a serious note, you see the Buffalo Bills lit up at night. The new stadium should have tits on a pool, literally and metaphorically. Yeah, it looks really, really good. And what I did not notice until somebody said something was that Bills logo that was on those alternate jerseys, those white ones from last year, is the actual Buffalo, the design. So if you guys haven't noticed that, they kind of gave us the hint right there that was going to be the Buffalo, the Bison, that is, outside of Buffalo Stadium, outside of Highmark Stadium. So pretty crazy that they wound up going with that design that was on that alternate uniform. Buffalo Joe would get his ass handed to him in coverage. Yeah, he's not. That's not his specialty. Richie, nah, man, not yet. Tommy should be useful for once to find it for us. I have no idea what you're talking about. Find what? I'm still looking for a lot of things, Slim. Bobby Wagner remains my favorite idea as an option. Yes, he would probably be my first option as we sit right now. And what he still gives you against the run and pass rushing prowess outweighs the differences in coverage. Yeah. I'm 100% with you. If I had my choosing, it would be Wagner for sure. Man. Okay. So we are 2 hours in, and I know Slim said something about Tommy should be useful for once and find it for us. I don't know. Find one. I'm still trying to caught up in the chat. You got a gold star. Thank you. I like gold stars. I keep them in a book. All right, so let's get this thing going, man, now that I am in 2 hours into the show. So I was going to go over some stuff tonight, but since we're 2 hours in, let's dive into this offense. Let's dive into the offense, right? Let me push this over here and then this here. So there was an article written by Rumblings by Chris Trapasso. Sorry if I'm butchering your name there. Let me see here. Okay. So let's. Oh, I almost clicked out of the chat. All right. Let's see here. Okay. So this is an article that was written by Chris Trapasso and Buffalo Rumblings. And he says Buffalo Bills offense should return to pass-happy ways under Joe Brady. This is how the Bills offense should operate in 2026. And I think he's saying it from his point of view, right? Vid of the Bison fam. Oh, man, dude. Yeah, let me... There was a funny... And I can't play it because it has... it has... whatchamacallit? What's that song? In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. And it's great, bro. Right when the drums hit, the fucking Bison nails that old man, bro. Oh, that poor old man went flying. Oh, Lord, trap ass that, I'm out. Be good, do good. Oh, you're out? What's going on? Let me try. What, you don't like fucking Phil Collins? What's wrong with you? You don't like Phil Collins, bro. We got problems, bro. We got major problems if you don't like In the Air Tonight, bro. Oh. We got major problems, Slim. All right, let me see here. I thought I had it here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Oh, dude, it's so fucking funny, bro. Let me see here. Bro, there's so many different videos of it. This guy getting there. This guy getting fucking... Oh, man, I can't find it, man. It was so funny, dude. Oh, man. And, dude, that guy got wrecked, bro, by the way. Like, that guy absolutely got destroyed. Oh, man, let me see if... Oh, well, I'll play... I'll play just this part here. Hold on. I'm sure you guys seen it over and over, but it's just so fucking funny, bro. So, dude, that Bison, first of all, he's wagging his tail. He's having a good day, right? He's just relaxing out here. And then these fucking guys go over to his fucking territory, his house, in a way, his land here, and they want to take pit. And this guy's like, all right, you want to look at this? You want me to get up and show you something really cool? Now he's wagging his tail, which tells me like, hey, let's have some fun. Right? So you going on over here? What you doing, old man? Bro, and that Bison kicked up some dirt right there. That fucking old man running around, bro. That Bison, bro, tearing up that tree. And that old man moving. And boom. I know it's terrible. Terrible of me to laugh at stuff like that. But, bro, that shit's funny, bro. That's just so funny. I know it's terrible of me, right? I should not be laughing at stuff like that. You know, poor guy got really wrecked. Trap Ass Hole is the one I got issues with. Trap Ass Hole. Now, you got to be careful with Trap Ass Hole. I have no idea what that is, but don't fall down that hole, Slim. The Trap Ass Hole is it's probably a bad hole to fall down. All right, so let's get back to what I was talking about earlier. Now that you guys threw me off track here with the talk here. Don't fuck with Mother Nature. Yeah. And by the way, they did come out with the news, did say they weren't going to euthanize the bison, which, duh. Like, you know how pissed I would be if I heard that they did? Like, dude, they're on his land. Like, that's Mother Nature. You took the fucking gamble, bro. Going out there, taking fucking pictures that close to a fucking bison. Like, no, I don't feel sorry for that old man. Like, maybe I shouldn't laugh at him getting fucking destroyed, getting fucking flown in the air 20 feet, but, I like Chris Trapassi less than time. Wow, Slim, you know what? You're unbelievable.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
It's unbelievable comment, Slim. Slim's just here because Post Podium's not live tonight, so he's like, damn, I got nowhere else to be. I got to go deal with this fucking Tommy guy and talk about White Steve and just throw off the whole podcast for the night. Way to go, fucking Slim. See, Slim came here to throw me all off. Throw me off. And that's what happened, guys. You blame Slim for the poor production tonight of the Friday Night Lights. Thanks a lot, Slim. All right, anyways, let's get to this. So he's thinking that, he say, look, they had the NFL's highest first down pass rate in all situations at 61%, and the highest first down pass rate in neutral situations when the point margin was between 8 and +8. -8 and a +8 at a whopping 64% during the regular season. Brian Daboll called the plays. Clearly, he was the first to realize Josh Allen's supreme capability. So I'm not going to totally read this whole thing, but they remain the NFL's top first down pass rate team in 2021, and were second in that advanced metric in 2022 under Ken Dorsey. So if you look at it, I think he has the stats here, but if not, I have him. So I haven't pulled up here. So let me pull that up for you guys now to kind of show you. And it's really not crazy off as far as offensive production goes, but I'll explain why I feel like it could be so much better if we go back to opening up the passing game a little bit more and letting Josh be Josh like he was from 2020 to 2024. Or actually, 2020-24 season, and 2025-2026 is where things started to kind of change in the fact that the offense, was going to basically, be more run heavy, use the tight ends more, try to use Josh a lot less in as far as running the ball, quarterback design runs, not throwing the ball deep, not taking a lot of chances downfield, and being a little bit more, a team that holds the ball a little bit longer and has longer sustained drives, and keeping the defense fresh on the side. Like, that was the game plan over the last 2 years from McDermott. Let's see here. I haven't seen Spin in the chat for a minute. Yeah, I think he's taking a break. Miss you, Spin, if you're watching this replay, which I don't think you are, but hey, Weston must have gotten a life too. Weston's a good guy. I think, Weston comes on for like a few minutes, does his, believe in Bean Island, which I appreciate, I love, and then he dips. There's only so much Buffalo Bills talk that I'm sure a Chiefs fan wants to hear, right? So, right? And there's that. So anyways, so here's the 2020 season. So we're gonna kind of dive back in time under Brian Daboll, all the way up to Joe Brady in the offense, right? In the current, or 2020, all the way up to 2025. So Brian Daboll in 2020, that's obviously the breakout year for Josh Allen and the offense. That's obviously when we got Stephon Diggs, which helped a lot. Scoring offense, we are 31.3 points per game. We were second, and we were second in total offense. So, and that was no fluke as far as the offense, right? We put those numbers up against all teams. Like, we were a very good offensive team that year. And then in 2021 was another really good year for the offense under Brian Daboll. Again, also, I put Josh Allen's stats here on the side, to kind of compare them over the, all the way leading up to the last two seasons. So Josh Allen, 4,500 yards, 37 touchdowns in 2020, 69.2 completion percentage, 107.2 rating, 421 rushing yards. So really good season. In 2021, 4,400 yards, 36 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 63.3 and 92.2. So it dropped this a little, but not a tremendous amount, right? Quarterback rating dropped a little, but if you notice, the rushing yards also went up from 421 to 763. So Josh Allen right here clearly doing both, getting the job done both through the air and on the ground, right? 2022, this is where Ken Dorsey takes over for Brian Daboll. Second in the NFL. Points per game, 28.4. And second in the NFL in yards per game at 397.6. So almost 400 yards per game for the 2022 Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, 4,283 yards, 35 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 63.3, and a 96.6 rating with 762 rushing yards. And then you go to 2023, and this is where Ken Dorsey, coaches the team all the way up to that Denver, gets fired after the Denver game. And up to that point, Ken Dorsey actually had a top 5 offense because I looked that up. So the yards were still there, passing yards, everything was still there for Josh Allen. The offense was still doing its thing as far as going deep and Diggs was heavily involved still at that current time. Joe Brady takes over. It's still not really Joe Brady's offense at this point. He's kind of just going off of Ken Dorsey's playbook at this point, right? And I'm telling you this, and this is factual, because after the season, Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott both talked about this at a press conference that, when they signed Joe Brady to be their new OC into the 2024 season, that Joe Brady will now, is now able to, or will be able to go into the 2024 season with his own playbook, right? And coach the offense how he sees fits and all that stuff like that, right? So basically he was piggybacking off of Ken Dorsey's playbook / Brian Daboll, because I think a lot of people thought Ken Dorsey was also doing that in 2022. Though I don't totally buy into that, because it wasn't like Ken Dorsey took over midway like Joe Brady did in that situation. Ken Dorsey in 2022 was his offense, right? So I don't know how much he just took and stole Brian Daboll's playbook when he had that whole offseason to prepare as the new OC. So I don't necessarily buy into that. Did he use some of it? Maybe. You know what I mean? What he learned from Brian Daboll? Sure. You know what I mean? I'm sure that, there were some things that Ken Dorsey took away from working under Brian Daboll, of course. But Ken Dorsey was not terrible in 2022. And this offense still was the offense that we knew, or what we saw from 2020, 2021, in those Brian Daboll offenses, right? It was still productive offensively. So then 2024 comes, right? This is where the drop happens, right? However, we're still at points per game second, and the yards per game drops. We're in 10th right now at 359, though still a top 10 in yards, right? And we're probably at this point, top 5, top 7 in offense, maybe. It doesn't say, but I would assume if we were second in scoring. Allen's numbers dropped, though, right? It's first year that he's under, since probably 2019, that he's under 4,000 yards. So 3,731 passing, 28 touchdowns, So his touchdowns drop a little bit. They dropped 1 from 2023 from 29 to 28. But if you look under Brian Daboll's years, he had 37, 36, 35 for Ken Dorsey. And then in 2023 is where they started to drop a little bit in touchdowns. That's where it was the, Ken Dorsey / Joe Brady offense. They dipped a little bit, but the yards were still there. But then when Joe Brady took over and had full control, this is kind of where things changed in the passing department, right? Yardage down. I'd say the completion percentage is always going to be around where that, Josh, about 65% on average. 28 touchdown, 101 quarterback rating. Rating was pretty good. 531 rushing yards. And then in 2025, under 4,000 again, 3,668, 25 and 10, 69 completion percentage. So his percentage went up a little bit as well. Quarterback rating 102.2. So he's usually around that range anyways throughout his career. Around 100 is where he's usually at. So, but here's my problem with all this. So in 2024, right, if you recall, if you go back to that season, and I remember because I watch every single press conference and, or clips, or I read into everything. Yeah, it's Matt Smokey over here from the Canada Fires. Fucking sucks. Yes, 2024 first year without Diggs. That is absolutely correct. So, 2024, when they talked about that upcoming season and Joe Brady's going to take over or as OC, full-time OC, remember that was a big deal, will they go and find another OC, or will Joe Brady just, get the job? And I think we all knew Joe Brady was going to wind up taking that job. One, because we know that Sean McDermott did not like hiring outside, right? He always liked hiring within. Once he got rid of Daboll, once he got rid of Frazier, it was all in-house. And that's fine. So it's kind of the writing was on the wall. Joe Brady was going to take over. And I truly believe that once Diggs was traded, which was in the works, because Diggs saw the writing on the wall when it came to the offense, how the second half of the season played out in 2023, where he saw less production. He saw that, the offense was shifting in a different direction, basically. And McDermott and Joe Brady came to that conclusion that they did not need Stephon Diggs, and he was more of a problem for them, and they could do fine without Stephon Diggs, and ultimately had Brandon Beane trade him away. Now they preached about this everybody eats mentality, that they're going to run the ball more. I believe this is when they drafted Dalton Kincaid. They were going to do 2 tight end sets. Remember that? So we were going to run the ball more. We're going to, be more into throwing the ball to our tight ends more. So basically the offense was shifting, right? And I feel like that hurt this offense a lot. Even though the numbers here are a little deceiving, I know what I watched and you know what you watched. Against better teams is where we struggled, where the number one receiver, missing that number one, really came into play, right? Not going downfield, having Josh Allen not run the ball a lot, right? Matter of fact, if you remember in 2023, if you really want to take it back, Sean McDermott came out and said he did not want Josh Allen running the ball. He did not like Allen having so many design runs and all that, and they restricted Allen a lot that year and making him a pocket passer. Then he changed his mind because we were losing games and just said, hey, we're going to have Josh just be Josh, and he kind of opened it back up for Josh Allen, right? But heading into that 2024 season with Joe Brady took over, everything had changed at that point, right? The number one receiver's out. We don't need that, right? We came up with a design that's going to work, and this is this new wave offense that, not even new wave. I take that back. We're going to do the old school approach, and we're going to run heavy, and we're not going to have to rely on Josh so much, and we're also going to limit the turnovers by not taking so many chances downfield, right? And you saw that in 2024 and 2025. that's why the numbers went down. Obviously, also too, not having a true one will, is going to affect that too. So, he's right in the fact that I do believe that now that you got the one, now that Sean McDermott is no longer here, right? He doesn't have that voice anymore of a Joe Brady where he's saying, hey, we're going to limit those mistakes and you're not going to take chances. You're not going to, take deep shots down the field or be more creative or have some trick plays here and there. Like, all that stuff is no longer the case, right? And I do truly believe that Sean McDermott had his hands in the cookie jar. It affected Joe Brady as far as Joe Brady doing maybe or not doing things that maybe he wanted to try or do or be more creative, but he couldn't because he had somebody that was telling him, you better not. And I truly believe that, because if you watch 2025, there was a point in the season where Joe Brady tried to be creative and do a trick play, and yes, it backfired. It wasn't good. I think it was an end around for Dalton Kincaid. It winded up being a fumble. And then after the game, Sean McDermott basically threw Joe Brady under the bus by saying he's trying to be too cute on offense. Then Joe Brady has a press conference, I think the day after maybe, and a reporter asked him about it, and he said he didn't even know he said that. So he was thrown by the question, and then he said, I don't think it's too cute. So right there is where you're already having friction between the coordinator and the coach. And for me, as a coordinator, you're hired to do a job. It's your responsibility, right? And the coach hires you for that. So if you have a guy that's not letting you do your job or be creative or be yourself, then what good is the job, right? You're never going to get the best out of that person, right? If they feel like, man, if I call this play and it backfires, he's gonna talk to the media and say I'm being too cute on offense. Like, it's just not a good thing. And he did that with Leslie Frazier when he took over play calling multiple times from him. He did it with Bobby Babich when he took over play calling multiple games from Bobby Babich. And I'm not saying Bobby Babich is a good DC, but why hire him if you're going to take lead? If you're going to take that away from him, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. Because if you made the wrong hire, then fire him. If you don't trust your guys to do their job, then why did you hire them to begin with? And if you feel like they're not, fire them. But you can't control that. Like, you can't walk into everybody's room and, have it, just have it strictly your way and they have really no say. Then what is the point of them being there is my point. And I don't want my coordinators feeling like, they got a guy breathing down their back and can't make any mistakes. It has to be perfect football. You're not going to get perfect football. You're going to have some mistakes, right? But I'd rather my OC be creative and, once in a while he's going to have a mistake. It's not going to go perfect, right? Maybe he is being too cute on that one play, but maybe the next play that he does, it works, right? And we're all like, holy shit. Like, but I'd rather that than nothing. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want this old school, run heavy, throw it short, everything safe football, because that's what he did on defense. The defense was what he was turning the offense to, right? Let's play zone. Let's play, soft zone. Let's not give up the big play. We're worrying about something that, he's worrying about the big play all the time. So let's just play everything safe. And I felt like he was shifting that to the offense, whereas it's like, hey, let's just do everything. I think he said at one time where when they gave him an interview where he's like, I want to do everything, like when we practice, has to be perfect for the basic stuff. And I feel like that's what he was trying to do with the offense and defense. Play it basic, but be perfect at that, right? And just leave it like that. We don't need any of the other stuff. And I think it hurt the team. It hurt Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen went along with it because that's who he is. He's not going to throw his coach under the bus. But I don't think that Josh Allen truly was happy with the offense over the last 2 years with his role, right? Because you're taking away a lot of what makes him great. Because for me, it's almost like they were trying to make him a game manager, and he's not a game manager. That's not what Josh Allen is, right? He's going to make mistakes. He's going to sometimes do a little bit too much. But that's who he is, and that's what makes him special. And if you try to take it away, then you're going to get what you got over the last 2 years, which is, in big games against better defenses, a very flat offense that's just trying to be perfect at the basic stuff. And football doesn't work that way. You got to take chances, right? And obviously Sean McDermott didn't learn his lesson after 2024 that you need a true number one. And once again, I feel like Sean McDermott as a person was very stubborn. He felt like his process was the right process, and he wasn't getting off that, and it hurt us. All right, let me get some comments. Shifting offense, Brady's doing or McDermott's influence. I think there was some. I think Brady had say in the offense, and I think some of the, I would say the majority was Brady's offense. However, I think he was restricted. If that, you know what I'm saying, Roy? Like, that's where I'm going with it. So, yes, it was Brady's offense, though I think it was restricted. Where I don't think it was Brady's full capability or full playbook of what Brady would prefer to do, and had to kind of move it away because Sean McDermott wanted just that part of the playbook. You get what I'm saying? So he was restricted. And you're never going to be great if you're restricted. You got to let your guys coach. And if they do bad, if they're not the guy, you move on from them. Right? Simple as that. And Sean McDermott just didn't get that. Because you know why, too? If he hired outside and a guy came in, right? Let's say a really good OC, right? There's no way, like let's say for instance, and it wouldn't have happened, but let's say Ben Johnson was available and we hired him as OC, which wouldn't have happened, but let's say we did. And Ben Johnson came into, the office and said, Sean, I know I know what you did last year at the run heavy, and you want to do. I kind of want to, I want to do this, and this, or even Mike McDaniel or whatever. The top offenses, coordinators. I want to do this, and this. I want to, get Josh doing this. Sean McDermott would never have that. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't his vision for the offense or defense. It wasn't the process he was going with. And if that's why he hired within. Because those guys, let me tell you, the moment, if he even interviewed those guys and they came talking that talk, he would shut that shit down immediately. Like, there was nobody going to was going to, take the lead, is what I'm trying to say, on offense, right? Take that power away from Sean McDermott, right? And Joe Brady didn't have a lot of say. Let's be real. Joe Brady was fired from Carolina. He was a quarterback coach here, and he got a great opportunity to be OC. So, of course, he's going to take it. Of course, he's going to, listen to what McDermott has to say, even if he doesn't necessarily agree. You know what I mean? Now that problem is no longer there. And I really believe that Joe Brady understands that you can't do that. And I hope that, and I feel like he won't, step on Jim Leonard's shoes and tell him what to do on defense or how he should run the defense when he doesn't know defense. That's not his side of the ball. I want him to pay attention to his side of the ball with Pete Carmichael and get the offense back to what it was in 2020, 2021, 2022, right? And even the beginning of 2023. You could still use James Cook. You could still have James Cook be 1,000+ yard runner, right? I'm not saying, excuse me. I'm not saying avoid the run or stop running, right? But you can open up the passing game again, right? You can make that a thing again where you're going deep, you're taking more shots downfield, stuff like that, that was taken off the board over the last 2 years. And look, I get we didn't have Diggs, but that's still no excuse on what happened. And what happened was McDermott just didn't want to take chances, and he wanted everything to be almost mistake-free football, and it backfired. It backfired. And obviously not having a number one backfired big time. And I think he thought he could get away with it because of what he was going to do. And he knew if he got a number one, that number one would not be happy with his style of offense or what he felt like, the offense needed to be. You know what I mean? So think about it. We get a new coach in Joe Brady, and immediately one of the first moves we make is get DJ Moore. But yet we didn't do that over the last 2 years with Sean McDermott. Do you think Brandon Beane was just like, fuck you, Sean McDermott? I'm not going to get you a number one because I fucking hate you? Like, I don't believe that. I don't buy into that. Now, does Sean McDermott maybe last year during trade deadline, maybe then is where he was like, oh, shit, maybe I need a one? Maybe we do need help? Because Keon Coleman and me are like, it's not working out, right? Like Keon, like, maybe then is when he realizes, like, his everybody eats is really not working, right? And then that's where maybe the friction started happening. Because I truly believe that when McDermott talked to Beane initially about, hey, I need you to get rid of Diggs, I'm sure Brandon Beane had a conversation and said, hey, what do you want to do about having a number one? Like, what do you want to do at receiver now that we're missing one? And a good one. A guy that I just paid, right? Like, paid big money to, right? To stay here in Buffalo for a while. There's no way that Brandon Beane said, oh, you want me to trade him? Okay, no problem. That's it, right? You don't need all right, we're good. You don't need no help, right? Because I'm not going to give you anything. Fuck you. Like, there's no way that conversation happened like that. I am sure that Brandon Beane asked him what he wanted to do if we trade Diggs, like what your plan is. And I'm sure Sean McDermott let him know. This is the plan moving forward. I don't need an alpha. I don't need a one. I want to build a crew, a bunch of receivers that understand what my vision is and the process is, and nobody's complaining about they want the ball and they need the they got to be the number one target. I don't want that, right? We don't, it's a headache. We don't want that in the locker room anymore. I want a bunch of guys that are just wanting to play football. And Brandon Beane said, okay, like, that's Brandon Beane's job. He's the GM. He's going to go with what the coach wants. And clearly, it was a terrible decision. I think Allen has been caged too much, and they got to. McDermott is terrorist by doing that. Yeah. Being cute, my butt. Oh, man. I'm about to get out of here. I've been on 2.5 hours. The offense felt like the D last year. Yeah, exactly. It's clear as day. He's not a technician. Both passing and running. That's why Andy Reid fired him in Philly. Yeah. I hope McDermott goes to the Jets and finally breaks their playoff drought just to get stomped by us. I like McDermott a lot, but it was time for a change. Really hope Brady's looking to open things up. Yeah. And by the way, Deion Dawkins lost about 40 pounds is what he's saying. And if that's true, that's very good news, right? Because that tells me that Deion Dawkins is putting the work in. He's taking this season very seriously. And I like that because Deion gets a lot of hate thrown his way. And yeah, he didn't have his greatest season last year. But I always look at the player's body of work. And Deion Dawkins has been a very reliable, very good tackle in the NFL since the day we drafted him. He hasn't missed many games. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy that I can count on usually almost every game to be there, protecting Josh, run blocking. Like, I'm not going to kill him over a little bit of a down year. And then, like I said, if he's putting that work in, that's a good sign. That's a really good sign. So I wish him well because he's a key part of that offensive line, whether you like him or you don't. Deion looks swole, man. So will I because he deserves that for always laying an egg with his pathetic defense. Yeah, dude. Let me see what else I was going to get into, and then I'll bounce because there was something cool that or not cool, but let me see here. So I'm seeing that. I'm trying to see what else. There was something I wanted to talk about. Okay, so the last thing, should the Buffalo Bills be on these available free agents? So I'll pop this up and then I'll get out of here. Let's see here. All right, so these are some free agents that are around. Buffalo Rumblings asking if the Bills should be in on these free agents. So Stephon Diggs, right, which is, I think, one of the hottest names being thrown out there for Bills Mafia. And I think Bills Mafia's, I think they're torn on it. I think, there's half that would welcome him back. There's half that wouldn't. I am on the side of I absolutely would. I still think he has, I still think he has some left in the tank. He showed that last year. And he was coming off an ACL injury, by the way, right? And he still put up 1,000 yards for the Patriots. So he's also understanding what his role is as a number 2, which he said the other day that he feels like he would be the best number 2 wide receiver in the NFL, which I don't think that's true, but I think he would be up there. But I think he would help this team, absolutely. I don't think he's a locker room cancer. When he was here, it was never an issue. I never heard anything like that. So I would definitely welcome him back. Joey Bosa, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would not want Joey Bosa back. Look, Joey Bosa was a hell of a football player for a while, but age and injuries have really derailed him in his career. And he's just not the same player. And we saw that last year when he, started off great and his age kicked in and injuries kicked in again and his production went down. And when we needed him most in the playoffs, he was a no-show. So it was a waste of $12 million for that year, right? It winded up being a worthless signing. So once again, he's another year older. I feel like Joey Bosa at this stage of his career, he needs to question what he wants to do. And for me, I thought he'd maybe play for the 49ers, play with his brother. You know what I mean? Just to kind of, it'd be pretty cool, but I don't even think the 49ers are interested. You know what I mean? I think they see the writing on the wall when it comes to Joey Bosa. But yeah, healthy Kincaid will go a long way. I think we need a touchdown better in every game he played. Yeah. No, Dalton Kincaid, bro, when healthy, is a stud, bro. The dude he could be a top 5 tight end in the league, no doubt about it. We need Josh Sweat to bolster that pass rush. 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. 12 sacks last year with a horrible Arizona. Yeah, no, he's a hell of a player. We went from trusted process to everybody eats to they got to play us, and quiet teams don't win games. Right. I love the mentality shift from Brady. Absolutely. Okay, so Joey Bosa, that's a no for me. Deebo Samuel, he's an interesting player because honestly, I think he would really fit in Joe Brady's offense because he's a better, way better version than Curtis Samuel. And, you know, if used right, like he was used in San Francisco when he had his best years, that's, you know, they did they used him as a running back, as a receiver, and you know, quarterback. You're like, they used him all over the field. He was a utility knife, right? And I feel like he would, and also 2 yards after catch is really good, right? Because strong, you know, obviously physical, fast, but it depends on the money. It all depends on what he's looking for. If he's looking for a big contract, no thank you. Because he only really had one great season, and then he had okay seasons. You know what I mean? So I don't think his production matches what he wants, but I think he would fit in this offense, if that makes sense. But I don't see it happening. I think Deebo just feels like his value is you know, I think he values himself higher than what maybe NFL teams value him at. Okay. I think he gets picked up, but I think he gets picked up maybe during the course of a season, or if there's injuries in preseason, maybe a desperate team really needing help, because he does have some talent. You know what I mean? So I think he'll wind up finding himself on a team, but we'll find out. So the question on that is, would I? Yes, but it'd have to be a very good, like, cheapy kind of deal, and he's just not doing it. Bobby Wagner, I would. I know he's 36, but he still have some, you know, left in the tank. He's a hell of a player. He's a vet. Been around, knows, you know, NFL offenses very well, right? So the dude has seen every offense, right? He could help out the young guys, and he can also make some plays when needed. So absolutely, if you're looking for a vet, he would be a guy I would sign. Absolutely, without a doubt. Clowney. You know, man, I got to say, once again, he's a guy that's just kind of finds himself on a team seems like every other year. Every year he's on a new team. But his production's, you know, has been there. So over the last 2 years. So once again, another guy. Would I welcome him on this? I'll welcome him, yes, but it would have to be, you know, a 1 year kind of deal that's not crazy. And I don't know if I think he values himself higher. And to be honest, Clowney has always found his way on a team that has paid him pretty good. So if he's going on history repeats itself, more than likely Clowney gets a decent deal somewhere. You know what I mean? But it ain't going to be Buffalo, right? So there's that. And that's it. That is it. I mean, I had some other stuff, but I think I can go over that Monday, man. It's been a long show. And it was fun tonight, man. I know we went off the rails a little bit tonight, talking about White Steve and Brandon Ayuk and Hershey Highway with Stephon Diggs. And, man, you know, we had an interesting podcast tonight. But this is what the offseason brings. And this part of the offseason, there's just not a lot to talk about. Not a lot to talk about, but it's all about entertainment. It's all about having fun with you guys. This is what the show has always been. I want you guys to come on here and laugh. You know, it's not always serious. You know what I mean? This isn't an X's and O's kind of show. Obviously, you guys know me. Once the season kicks in, obviously we get a little bit more, you know, it gets a little bit more serious, right? You know, because then we're talking real football that's happening. But you guys, you know, like I said, this show has always been about the chat steering the ship. And me and Mikey, or just me, just, you know, kind of is your tour, right? In a way, right? Right, is your tour guide, right? And we're just kicking back, having fun. And I appreciate you guys for that, man, because without you, the show doesn't go on. It really doesn't. I'm here sitting talking to myself, and this is a half an hour podcast. So bringing Ayuk, hell fucking no. Ayuk's not going anywhere, bro, and I wouldn't want him here either. And you'd have to trade for him, and I don't think any GM wants that head case, bro. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys. Bills Mafia. By the way, if you do want to help me out with the GoFundMe, I put it in my YouTube channel. There is a link. I am moving in 2 weeks, and I am in desperation time. I am still in need of help. So if you guys can, and if you can't, if you could share that link, I'd appreciate it. I really would. And just have me in your thoughts and prayers. That goes a long way. But yeah, I'll go ahead and put that link in the description when the show ends. And if you can't find it, it's also in my channel under my post that I do. So appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you guys on Monday for Monday Night Uncensored at 10 p.m. Mikey will be on then. So thank you so much. Bills Mafia, no problem, brother. I appreciate you, twins. And Bills Mafia, I love you. And as always, go Bills. I'm out of here. Peace.